Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Neil Haley Network's Reverend Winn Henderson segment. I'm excited to welcome the program. Reverend Winn, how are you? And I know you're excited about our topic today. How are things today, sir?
Everything's great, Neil. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We're excited to talk to you today. And I kind of want to just jump really quickly into specific. Our topic today is social media addiction. You know, when I grew up, and I know when you grew up, there wasn't social media. There wasn't really, there was not the internet when you grew up. And for me, the internet was just a beginning process of conversation. It was more for adults. No children really had the ability or capabilities of understanding. But now it's become such an epidemic that everyone is online most of the time. They speak and discuss things not face to face anymore. But the people that are addicted to social media is awful, isn't it? It's terrible how many people are.
It certainly is. You know that there are 327 million people in the United States today, and Facebook, which is probably the leading social media platform, has 2,000 members, 2,000 million members worldwide. That's 6 times the population of the United States. So you can see that we're talking about terrific number of people that are affected by social media.
And then now those people, you're going to have ones that have the form of getting an addiction, as you talked about in one of your other programs, that there are causes to becoming addicted. And those causes lead to addiction. So if you are really into this thing and you have the ability to be addicted to something, this is going to be a simple way of creating that fix, right? And especially for people, it's so easy to use, right?
Well, absolutely. There was a 2014 study which talked about excessive use of technology, and generally I call it screen addiction. It's the same thing. But people are addicted to their screens or the excessive use of the technology. And some of the things that this study talked about was disruptions of physical and mental health. In physical health, it could be any kind of long-term physical problem or even death. There are deaths every day due to social media. And on the mental health side, we have several things that they talked about, which were also some of the symptoms that I told you about on a previous episode. But the symptoms here that they implicated were anxiety, nervousness, depression, low self-esteem, loneliness, guilt. If you're suffering from those things, they could be directly coming from social media. Now, they also talked about changing habits of sleeping patterns. And they talked about overweight problems. They talked about decreased level of exercise. And they talked about problems with schoolwork, not being able to get the grades, pass the test, this kind of stuff. And so we have all these things from this 2014 study, which are going on today, only worse. So that's one thing that we need to consider is, what is social media doing to you?
Yeah, definitely. And it's really a problem, especially if you suffer from any of those problems, certain diseases, certain situations that you are feeling your mental health is suffering. Social media addiction is going to happen. So can you give us a quick couple of tips today on the show of ways to decrease social media addiction? What are some ideas?
Well, social media has been designed to addict people to start off with. And why is that? The bottom line is greed from corporations to get extra money. And greed can be an individual addiction, or in this particular case, a corporate addiction, where the design is to addict people. And we know that having extra dopamine, sort of like when you're using drugs, social media is doing the same thing. It's causing a direct injection of dopamine into the brain system and gives you the same problem that you would have if you were a drug addict, for example. It's not something that we're going to be able to deal with based on trying to convert Facebook, Plenty of Fish, all these sites away from what they're doing, which is trying to addict us because too much money is involved. But with respect to your question, what can you do about it? You can change your ability to be addicted to not only social media, but to all the 30 different addictions that I talk about on my website, which is RevWinnHendersonMD.com, and on my platform for my show, which you can get to at www.freedomfromaddiction.libsyn, and spell Libsyn LIBSYN.com. You can get resources there, but you need to cure yourself of the disease of addiction and cure yourself permanently. And then you won't need to worry about social media, drugs, alcohol, tobacco, relationships, sex, overeating, and all the rest of them, because you will have taken care of that problem. And so I guess what I would say about that is that use those resources to find out how to change the ability of the world to addict you to anything.
And see, that's so interesting, all the things you're bringing up today on this program, that if we don't curb and stop those other addictions that we all as human beings can develop, it's going to lead us to those really dangerous addictions afterwards. So such small addictions need to be curbed and cured before you can stop people that are addicted to these really big time things, as we talked about, overeating, all these different things. If you can stop the other, then you're not going to have the cycle of addictions that are going to kill you or cause harm and pain to your family and friends.
Yeah, and I might just point out that even the what you call the minor addictions, the not so significant ones, can still kill you. And whether we're talking about one death in 1,000 or one death in 1,000,000, if it's you that we're talking about, it's 100%.
So the best place to find information again is RevWinnHendersonMD.com. You're on all the social media sites. People can connect with you, ask you questions, all those different things in particular. And people need to think about, if we're going to try to cure social media addiction, it's not going to be like all these other experts to talk about, hey, make sure you're not online. Make sure you're doing these specific things. When you're addicted, you can't stop yourself from screen time. You can't stop yourself from doing these certain things. Certain things are drawing you towards that addiction. The only thing you can do is look at the core of yourself and see the issues that you're dealing with so that you don't become addicted to those things.
Neil, the definition of addiction that I've used for the last 30 years is if you have a behavior, in this case, excessive use of your screens, that you understand is causing you harm or someone that you love harm, and you can't stop it, you're addicted to it. Apply that to yourself. In other words, you know that screen addiction can cause death. I mean, it's in the news and everything. People get killed running into cars, dropping into holes, and everything like that. It can cause the problems that I just mentioned previously. So it is causing harm. Now, can you stop it? Well, try this test. Put away all your screens for 24 hours. If you can't do that, then you can feel fairly certain that you're addicted to screens and excessive technology use.
Agreed. So social media addiction is led by screen addiction, which is led by something else in your self-esteem and different things. And go to your website to learn more information. So I appreciate you coming on. Look forward. We're going to go back into a really interesting topic. And I wanted to bring up something at the end of the program. I interviewed a Grammy Award winner, and this is involving catfishing. And somebody has been stealing her image off the internet, and they thought it was the country music bluegrass star. And it'll come. The name will come to me, and it'll come to me too late in the conversation. But I wanted to get your response really quickly to end the show. And basically, from that situation, which I was blown away when I heard about this, the guy left his wife, took all his money, and paid that lady, and then went to visit to think he's going to marry her, and she was already married. And the country music star, and I'm going to tell you right now who it is, bluegrass Grammy Award winner, is Rhonda Vincent, Grammy Award winner. And somebody used her image as and scammed this person. So that's what we're going to talk about next time on the program. But it was very interesting that she brought this up, saying if it's not an official check mark verified account, do not talk to me. And because it's not me. And so that's going to be for our next show coming up, to talk about that and how they use images, as we know other people, but you probably didn't know about Rhonda Vincent. So I wanted to mention that to you, that people are using her image, acting like she's the country music star. So people are falling in love with her, giving her money, unloading bank accounts, just because they think it's the real person.
Well, in a previous show, I told about how I, for 6 months, went undercover to find out how the Nigerians and Ghanaians were using catfished pictures to scam people. And even though I was significantly involved in knowing about this, for a period of about 45 days, they were able to scam me because they were using the catfished pictures of a really beautiful model, Playboy model, and they can just go to the internet, pick the pictures off, send them to you so that you think that you're talking to Rhonda Vincent or whoever it is, and it's the way that they do business. And so you can, like you said, you can find out by various means, we can talk about later, of how you can look at those pictures and see if they belong to somebody else.
All right. Well, thanks again. RevWinnHenderson.com. Visit it today. And thanks for coming on the show, Winn.
Okay. Thank you, Neil.
All right. You're listening to the Neil Haley Network's Reverend Winn segment, and we'll talk next week. Take care.